that will conclude the shadow and the brows. I have not added on lashes or mascara to this. I always save mascara to the end. I've used a bunch of different kinds of eyelashes for like feeling fancy and want to put some eyelashes on. The Ardell Demi Wispies are a good drugstore staple. I mean, you can obviously get fancy and do individual ones or dramatic false lashes. So the first thing that I do, I will pull my lashes off of the container, and I quite literally bend them in half. So I don't know how this is going to show on camera, but I I push the tips together like that and bend them in half. And I do this to really like reinforce that curved shape. Like our eyelids are curved, so we're gonna try to make that match. They curve them obviously a little bit to put them on here, but not significant enough in my opinion. The Demi Wispies, I do not have to cut those for the shape of my eye. They seem to just work. So that's another reason why I tend to just grab these, because it's a really easy application for me. But if you have smaller lids or the shape of your eyelash is not aligning with the shape of your lid, then you should measure and cut those. So place them on your lid where you know you're gonna want the lashes to kind of tail out, and figure out if that is coming in too far or if the lash is too long. And if so, you can measure that and cut it with little like baby nail scissors or something to make it smaller. Like I said, these work really well, so I'm not gonna bother cutting today. Like I said, I try to bend them in half. Something that I'll do, because they're kind of tacky, is I'll use the point of my fingernail to like really reinforce bending them like that, like so. Very cute, right? But I like it because it helps, because then it gives me something to kind of like push on. And I guess you could just do this with your finger, but you're not going to have that really sharp point to reinforce it. So that's why I like to do this. But anyway, and I just press on them to really make sure that they're going to stay in that super, super angled shape. This is going to be going on this right eye because the longer hairs are going to tail out. I hold it by the tips of the lashes, and I get my lash glue. This is just the Duo. I use it in black because I generally have a black liner or kind of a smoked out eye, and it just works. All right, so I use the little paintbrush on it to apply a thin strip of glue to it like that. Then we wait. I think for maybe sanitary reasons, they tell you not to blow on your lashes, but I blow on my lashes because I just get so bored, man. You have to sit here and wait for it to get a little tacky. Rookie mistake, if you're putting on lashes and you put on your glue and then immediately apply to your eye, you're gonna notice they're gonna like slip around. It's gonna cause your glue to smear and just look cakier and heavier than they need to be. So give it a good like at least 30 seconds or so of hanging out and admiring the work that you've done thus far while you were waiting for this to get tacky. You want it to be kind of tacky to the touch, and then when you put it on your eye, it's going to stay put basically where you place it, and the final moments of it drying will seal it to your eye. That way you don't have glue smearing around and all of that. We're about to put these on, but before I do, I'm going to show you the best eyelash tool of all time. They sell very, very fancy ones, of course, but money cannot buy the best, which is this. This is a jacked up bobby pin, and this is what I use to put on my eyelashes. You can tell the ends of it are covered in cakey eyelash glue. So I just take a bobby pin and I pull it apart to where we get this like hairpin style. This is the perfect size to kind of push the base, the line of your eyelashes in. I'm going to place these lashes, focusing on where I want the outer hair to be, right on the tail end. And that's what I'm gonna like really push into the line. Then I'm gonna get super close to the mirror, or in this case, camera. It is blocking what I'm doing, but I'm trying. And I'm going to just lay that gently on the bottom. Now it is not pressed to my lid. Like if I left it like this, it would not adhere like 100% to my eyelid because it's just kind of barely sitting on there. But that's where my handy tool comes in. And so instead of using my finger, which is too big, I can't push it in, I use this tiny little hairpin and I press the edges into the lash line as close as I can get it. All right, and then I'm gonna let it sit. If I was not on camera, I would be just sitting here with my eyes closed and probably keeping this pushed into it. All right, so I'm gonna go ahead and let this one sit on my nail and mold to that shape while I'm waiting on this one to dry. Okay, so since that was pretty tacky before I went on, it's already drying, and then I'm gonna take my finger and I'm gonna pull the lashes up and fold them in half. Now, if you tried to do this while your glue is wet, they would come off. So you need to wait until your glue is tacky and you put them on. Okay, there we go. I like to push them up just so it adds like a little bit more to the curl. Like if you glue them at the angle that I just had and I didn't push them up, they still had like a slight bit of tackiness, so you can kind of change sort of like how they're pointing. If I left them, they would have like sort of pointed down. And I like them to kind of wing out, so that's why I tilted them up. And then when I feel like they're really, really secure, that's when I'll go in and I will press them together with my actual lashes so that it looks like, you know, they are my real lashes. I don't think anybody thinks these are my real lashes, but you never know. So I realize it kind of looks like there's a pretty harsh line here. That is because there is. I did not do a liner all the way in. Typically, if I'm putting on false eyelashes, I will do it before I even put on eyeshadow. I know a lot of people put on their false eyelashes after they do eyeshadow. I actually don't like to do that. I like to do my eyelashes before, make sure they're really on there good and secure, and then I put the eyeshadow on top. I like to do that because I think it hides the band well, and then when I go to blend in my eyeliner, like how I smudged it in the corner, I can really smudge it into that line and it hides it really, really well. When I do that, I'm also able to kind of pull that gradient down slightly to cover the end of the lash. It works out really well. That's usually how I do it. Since I was trying to show very clearly how I was blending my shadow, I didn't do that today because it does make it a little bit difficult. As you can see, the lashes would like extend into the little lid, so it would be a little hard to see. So I didn't do that, but I would recommend trying that to help blend your lash into your shadows and liners. I think it looks better. I mean, unless you're just like super great at putting on false eyelashes, but I feel like that's a makeup artist. I mean, I'm pretty good at putting on false eyelashes usually, and you know, I still have lines. So I do put mascara on top of my false eyelashes to blend them in. I don't do as intense of a coat as I would if I didn't have eyelashes on, because it can look really cakey and heavy and just fake on top of false eyelashes. But I do a light coat to blend in my lashes. I know some people who will put a mascara coat on and then put their lashes on top of it. I think that makes them look separated even more, because they just, to me, look way more distinct even if you try to push them together. I think the mascara will kind of like adhere one of your lashes to the fake one, and like it just makes it blend better. So I like to do it after, but to each his own. Okay, this is probably tacky enough, so I'm gonna go ahead and put this on before it gets to the point that it will no longer stick. And I'm gonna find out where I want that lash to end, and then push that one in. Okay. I did just have to move that over like a tiny, tiny, tiny bit. But because my glue was pretty tacky, it's not leaving like residue. It's not smearing, right? So All right, so I'm pushing that in with my very fancy tool here. I'm gonna let that sit and dry and get even tackier before I try to bend and manipulate them in any way. Another reason that I like this tool is because it's the perfect size for if you put on your strip lash and realize that it is slightly above your lash line and it's like really, really noticeable that they are not the same thing. This is really good for taking, once it's sort of dried on your eyelid, taking it and pushing it down into your lashes. I will also use the edge of the bobby pin. I like it because it's kind of got that, like, I don't know what that material is, but it's like it's kind of soft. I will take it and I will like kind of scrape against the top of my eyelash if there's any excess glue, because glue can look really, really cakey, particularly if you put your lashes on before you do your shadow. You'll start to notice that the glue is gonna hold on to anything that you put on top, and so then it starts to look really thick and you're like, wait, why is your eyeshadow clumpy? That's strange. So I will go in and I'll clean that up if any happens, just kind of by scraping it off, and it comes off like stretchy glue, basically. All right, so that feels pretty good. We're gonna go in and blend these babies up, give them some curl. Just kind of changes, like very minimally changes the direction at which they point. That looks a little overdone, but when I go back and press them together, they'll flatten back out slightly. All right, and there we have it, lashes applied. Usually I do my lashes before so I can really blend that lash line in with whatever kind of eyeliner gradient I'm trying to make. Since I did this after, I'm gonna go in with this really, really tiny lip brush and add in a really, really slight smudge over the edge, over the very tip of that. And hopefully this is coming through. I don't know if that detail is there. You can definitely see this in real life. But by doing that, it kind of blended that edge of that strip lash out, whereas this one, like, it's a harsh ending, right? So hopefully that's coming across on camera, but that now looks a lot more blended, and that, like, these could be, you know, lash extensions almost, because you can't really see unless you get super, super, super close to my closed eye. So that helps that not look like such a start and end. So I'm gonna do that on this side with a really fine lip pencil and shadow. There we go. And see, that blended it out. I'm gonna do a little bit more on this eye just because I made that a little darker. Now, if I wanted to keep the gold, I could also go back in and touch up the gold right here in the corner to keep the eye bright, right? Okay, and there you have it. That looks like really clean shape, right? Yeah, we think. Mascara time. So like I said, I will use mascara to blend my actual lashes with the false lashes. I think it looks better, so I like to do that. The only thing that I would apply as normal, but the only thing that I try to consider is I use a lighter mascara whenever I wear false eyelashes, because the really, really heavy mascaras, so you're talking like your Milk Kush, is a very thick, heavy mascara. I love it for daily use. It's probably one of my favorites, but it will clump on top of false eyelashes. Whenever I have a false lash on, I try to use a mascara that is a little bit lighter, that I can do a kind of a light coat. So as much as I complain about this mascara, Ilia mascara is a really good one for false eyelashes because it doesn't build like some of the other ones. It's not as thick. Like, you can apply a thinner coat so that the lashes aren't too dramatic, because we're obviously going for drama by putting a false eyelash on, but that said, you don't want it like clumpy and make your eyes look super closed in and dark. All right, so like I said, I do a coat down and a coat up, same thing in the center, and then I really, really, really focus my attention on these inner lashes that didn't get the strip lash. Because if I'm gonna try to build anything up, it's those babies, right? I don't want it to look like my lashes just suddenly stop in the middle of my eye by only focusing on the actual lash, the strip lash itself. And that is very easy to do, even like unintentionally, by just applying a coat. Like, naturally these lashes are, the strip lash is probably a little bit longer than your actual lash. And when you add mascara, they're gonna stand out a lot more. So I like to really, really coat the inside where it's my natural lash so that it blends. Same thing over here. Actually, that's a good example. You can tell already, like I just did the exact same thing that I started with over here, and you can see there's no mascara right here. So it automatically looks like those are way more dramatic, right? So I'm gonna build these in so that they look like they are part of the lash. Okay, those are very dramatic lashes. All right, and I'll coat the bottom real quick. And I won't do more than 1 or 2 coats just because like that can look really intense really quickly. I would never wear false eyelashes every day. I'm just not that type of person. That's a wrap for shadow, lashes, and brows. Thanks for getting ready with me live on YouTube and Twitch. If you want to see more of me, which of course you do, then go ahead and subscribe and hit the bell so you'll get notified when I go live or post new content. Better yet, just come get ready with me every weekday live on Twitch.